Oh, okay. Hello, everybody. Today we have a race between Tortadiego and ROTFLandmines. I am Tiki. I'll be commentating this race. And they've already started, so they're off in the intro stage. Both of them getting through. Basically, the goal of the intro stage, don't stop holding right. It's pretty mashing intensive. And you can see that both players are pretty much completely even. First mini-boss is, the idea is to take some damage from it and get behind it. So it looks like Landmines has actually picked up a health drop. The idea behind taking damage from these bees is that you have to lose the fight at the end of the stage here, and you need to have 3 or fewer health by the time you get there. So we can see that Diego already has 3 health, so he won't be able to take any more damage from, for example, the cars. And Landmines has a lot of extra health, so he'll be taking a lot of damage from the cars. A little bit of background getting into this. I think that both runners opt to go for Eagle third, which means Langer second, so we'll probably be seeing Iceless from both of these players. I don't remember the exact PDs of these players, but Diego's is in the 37 range and Landmines is in the 36 range. So we're going to be seeing a pretty evenly matched race here. Both players getting through the intro stage pretty well. There were actually a couple hiccups on both players' sides, but it's coming out to about even on these file times. Diego's maybe, well, his timer is actually, it looks about even, accounting for the timer. Both of them got around a 2-minute grab time, which is when most runners split on the intro stage. And 2 minutes is a perfectly good time. So I think this is pretty solid start for both of them. So they'll be going into Chill Penguin. Chill Penguin stage is actually one of the more technical stages in the run. The first half of it is done without dash boots. This run is almost always done in any speedrun category first, because you get the dash boots in this stage. And they're essentially a mandatory upgrade in the course of normal gameplay in this game. So Chill Penguin's first. You can see that they're just getting through walk speed. Deploying a couple of slope jumps, which is essentially a very minor glitch in the game, where if you walk down a slope and jump, and you gain height while jumping, and you're also moving horizontally a little bit faster. So it turns out that it's usually worth it to actually turn around, walk left, and then get a slope jump, and then use the faster horizontal movement to the right. That's if you do it fast enough, you're moving faster to the right than to just hold right. So now both players have the dash boots, getting through the cave. Landmines securing a very slight lead, about a second. Both of them are coming up on the snowballer section, and this one's kind of interesting because it's very tricky to get through this with only the Buster and do it efficiently. So every runner has kind of worked out their own sort of style of getting through that. Every runner at every level, really, even if you look at the top time, the very top times, pretty much every runner does the snowball section. Now both runners are on Chill Penguin. They are both getting kind of a pretty standard pattern. Doesn't look like anybody's getting a huge amount of slides yet. Basically, long story short with this fight, as Landmines finishes it up is you don't want a lot of slides. Jumps are okay, but kind of hard to deal with, and you want him blowing ice penguins as much as possible. So both players finishing up Penguin. It's still very close, but Landmines does have the slight lead. 5 to 6 seconds of lead time. So they're starting Boomer Kawanger stage, and this stage is very intensive on vertical movement. And again, kind of in every screen, different runners have different ways to deal with it. Looks like in the first screen, both runners kind of did similar things. They climbed, very safe, solid strategies that are consistent. Looks like both players also dealing with the turtles very well. Ooh, Diego having a bit of a slip up there, but no big deal, no big deal. The elevator is kind of a nice little break. And players kind of get to deal with this part however they want, because it's an auto-scroller. Very short one, though. And now Landmines coming up on the outside climb. He's going to be doing Iceless, and so is Diego once he gets there. And in my opinion, the Iceless Heart is actually the hardest trick in this category. Even if you play the more grindy, non-race route, which is usually in third. Both players having some trouble here. This is really showing that this is a hard trick. It's very specific. Diego gets it. So now, Diego's actually taken the lead. But Landmines isn't too far behind. He gets it not too far after. So both players playing very well. Iceless, especially in the context of a race when you might be a little bit nervous, you might be feeling, that you don't have the safety net of a reset. It can be pretty tough to get that trick. So the deal with Kawanger is that you can essentially get him into an infinite loop for the first 14 health, which controls the first 7 shots. And after that, whether or not he stays in the infinite loop is RNG. But if he doesn't, then he'll start teleporting, and you can just kind of stand in the middle and do that. So Diego and Landmines both kind of flubbed the infinite a little bit, but they both recovered extremely well. Diego is maintaining his lead, and now going into Storm Eagle. So Storm Eagle is going to be a big time save point, or a big opportunity for one person to pull ahead of the other if they get the Phantom Grab, which is coming up. The way the Phantom Grab works is they'll try. Ooh, Diego, maybe nerves showing a little bit there. He jumps off toward the heart way too early. Probably forgot exactly where the key was. So anyway, Phantom Grab. Landmines gets it. Diego also gets it, but has to adjust a little bit. The way this works is that if you grab the heart tank out of your boomerang, the frame before the game spawns the platform will spawn inside of your boomerang as opposed to where it's actually supposed to. And then you can kind of just ride it through a very significant part of the stage, all the way up to this capsule. So now this race is extremely even. Diego with a little bit of an unfortunate mistake, jumping off too early to get the heart, but he had enough lead time to make it so that this is still very, very, very easy. It's really awesome that both of them got that trick, by the way. It's not a particularly hard one, but it does require quite a bit of focus, because you do have to position yourself such that if you're moving forward, the game will spawn the platform on the next frame. And there's a very good cue for it, but, you know, under pressure, it's not always easy to hit. So now, they're fighting Storm Eagle. Both of them are hoping for as few dives as possible. Which it looks like Diego is getting a slightly better pattern so far. Ooh, a much better pattern so far. Wow, Diego got 0 dives. That's actually quite rare with the Buster, quite rare. And Landmines, not so fortunate. So Diego's able to pull out in a bit of a lead again. And that's kind of the way the game just goes sometimes. Sometimes RNG is just not in your favor. So now both runners are going to be going for Flame Mammoth. This stage is pretty straightforward, but there is something that can happen that it happens very rarely, but when you're jumping up toward the weapon upgrade capsule, you can actually break the bottom 2 blocks and fall and not be able to get up there without this being the stage. Okay, so Diego gets up there just fine, no problem. Landmines also up there just fine, no problem. So in the context of a race, that at least gives me a little bit of a scare, because I really don't want to break the bottom 2 and then fall. It happens very rarely, but it can happen. Anyway, both of them have got the Buster upgrade, which allows for the pink Buster shot, and it also allows fully charged versions of all other weapons as well. Diego with a nice grab on the E-Tank, still maintaining a bit of a lead. Gets the Heart Tank. Some mistakes happening though, in terms of movement and execution, and I think that's letting Landmines catch up a little bit. Just off the back of execution. So this section, both players doing it very well. It's pretty straightforward. It's just a lot of platforming. And both players are hitting the door very, very similar time. Oh, what's going on with Diego? he was paused for a little bit there. And actually, Landmines, just through the second half of that stage, just through movement and execution, I think he's actually pulled a little tiny bit ahead. Again, the timers are slightly different, so it's hard to exactly tell, but this race is very, very good. And it has been this whole time. This is a great showing so far from both Diego and Landmines. This is a great race. Yeah, so very, very even here. Both will probably go to Spark Mandrill. So after you get the Fire Wave, you have the option of doing the Chill Penguin revisit at any time. You do need to revisit that stage because you do need the Fire Wave to grab the Heart Tank. And it's just not efficient to get the Fire Wave before doing Chill Penguin because Chill Penguin is where the dash boots are. So it's a bit of a trade-off in routing. But that's how it goes. Alright, both players off to a pretty good start here in Mandrill. This hallway section is one of the toughest in the game. There's a lot of platforming and the weapon swapping, and using the shrapnel from the ice to hit multiple times with one shot. The Thunder Slimer fight in 100% is very straightforward. It's 2 charged tornadoes and a single shot. Some people will use boomerangs, or 1 charged tornado and boomerangs, which is actually a little bit faster, but is a little bit more luck reliant. Jeez, both of these players are just like almost synced up still. It's kind of crazy. This is a very solid play from both players. getting through that section. The Spark Mandrill is one of the more challenging splits in the entire run. And both of them did quite a good job getting through it. So Spark Mandrill, the way this fight goes is that when he's frozen, his iframes actually run out before his freeze does, so you can get a second hit in that won't freeze him. So every other shot you're freezing him. Still within just a couple seconds here. But it looks like Landmines has taken the lead again. The leads, this race has switched leads so many times already. So both players will be heading into Armored Armadillo's stage. There's a Phantom Grab here for the sub-tank. I'm not quite sure if either of them opt to go for it. It's a maybe second or two time loss to go for it. Okay, Landmines does not go for it, and neither does Diego. Okay. Yeah, I would say it's a second or two to go for it, and about 6 to 7 seconds of savings to get it. But it's very hard to get, very luck dependent because you need to drop from a bat. So, you can definitely see arguments either way for going for it versus not going for it. The rest of the stage is spent in large part on minecarts. And even though they are traveling very fast, it is generally kind of straightforward to use them, except for the last one, where they need to be jumping at specific points to avoid bird spawn. Because the bird spawn if X is on the cart, so you want to be off the cart, aka jumping, when the birds would spawn. Both of them actually got through that perfectly well, and now they're fighting Armored Armadillo. So Armored Armadillo, this initial roll, he still has his armor on, so he's actually invincible for as long as he's rolling, and that's completely alright. Every time he touches the ground, there's a 37.5% chance that he breaks out of his roll, so if you do get a long pattern of rolling, it is very unlucky. But Landmines actually got the best pattern, which is an immediate unroll, and then Diego got a worse pattern, but one that wasn't completely terrible. So Landmines was able to pull a little bit ahead off the back of slightly better execution and much better RNG, I would say. But it's still neck and neck. Now they're heading into Launch Octopus stage. In this route, you do to kill the Anglerges, which are the first two mini-bosses. You use Rolling Shield on the first one, which does a lot of damage. I don't know off the top of my head how much. And then you use Electric Spark on the next one, which does less damage, but is like the next best option, because you can't really use up all your Rolling Shield because you need it for the actual long time. So both players have gotten their ship. Landmines has a pretty substantial lead now, I want to say. Probably the most substantial of this race, which is, probably 12 to 15 seconds, if I had to guess. And calling 12 to 15 seconds of lead time the most substantial of a race is just a testament to how close this race has been completely throughout. So Landmines is coming up on Launch Octopus. And he's going to hope for, both runners are going to hope for no whirlpools. Which it looks like he gets a whirlpool here. Whirlpools, they're a bit of a time waster, but they're also kind of scary, because if you don't go in with a fire wave, you're gonna have to wiggle yourself out, and there's a small chance that you'll have you in an infinite combo if you do that. So landmines looks like a 2006 teleport here, and Diego looks like a 2015 teleport here. So there's 9 seconds of difference between these two players, and this is kind of the biggest discrepancy we've had so far. So 9 seconds of leeway, anything can happen still. We're a little over halfway through the run. Both players coming up on their last Maverick, but they both still have the Chill Penguin revisit to do. Landmines is coming up on the God, I don't even remember his real name. We fondly call him the Green Biker Dad, as a reference to the Green Biker dude in Mega Man X's intro. But anyway, the idea here is you want to shoot him with 18 boomerangs and 5 lemons, and that will leave you with exactly 10 boomerangs for Sting Chameleon, so you can beat him with 1 dash lemon and 10 boomerangs. So they both grab the armor here. The armor doesn't have too much use for the speedrun, but it is part of 100%, so they are getting it. The heart tank down the watery section. The water is there only after you beat Launch Octopus, so that's why a lot of runners they opt to go for Sting Chameleon last. There is a strategy where you can use a charged ice sled and get it without the water, in case you want to do it before Launch Octopus. And there's also a strategy to phantom grab that heart, so you can do Chameleon very quickly, right after pulling. The downside to that, though, is it's a very tough trick to hit very consistently, and if you miss it, then you have to reset, or you have to take a death, so it's very costly, which is why you'll almost never see it in races. Although it is the fastest route in. So both players finishing up Chameleon here. The lead is still very, very similar, or the time discrepancy is still very, very similar. It looks like Landmines will be teleporting at 22:58, and Diego will be teleporting at 23:05. So the lead is almost exactly the same as it was for Landmines after Octopus. Diego's made up about a second. They were 8 seconds apart before, now they're about 7. But yeah, this is still a very close race heading into kind of the end game here, which is first the Chill Penguin revisit so that they can pick up the final heart. You can see that everybody kind of has a different strategy for the beginning of Chill Penguin's stage, or for this whole revisit in general, but most people opt to go for Charged Chameleon Sting in this section, just because there are other kind of no-stop strategies, but they require a lot more execution, and you know, why would you set yourself up for failure when you can just be invincible? So Landmines has grabbed the heart. He's exiting at 24:04. Diego has grabbed the heart. He's exiting at 24:08. So I didn't actually see what happened there, but Diego's actually made up a few seconds just from that revisit. And that revisit is all execution, so that was all off the back of execution. Both players are now heading into Armored Armadillo to grab the Hado. Now the way this works is a little bit tedious. There's an energy capsule kind of at the very end of the stage above Armored Armadillo's boss door, and you need to essentially see not exactly that energy capsule, but a cube basically based around it. A total of 4 times before the Hadouken capsule will appear. And then on the 5th time, you need all of the... what do you call them? You need all of the upgrades, so all the hard tanks, all the sub-tanks, all the boss weapons, and you need full health on that 5th one. You can have any combination of whatever beforehand, but on the 5th one, you need all of that in order to see it. So the fastest way to do that is to just take a bunch of deaths. I didn't actually realize that Landmines hadn't grabbed this heart before. And Diego had. So that little grab takes a little bit of time away from Landmines' lead. So now it's, once again, pretty much neck and neck. I don't know what visit number they're on. I want to say that this is the 4th for both players, so they'll take 1 more death. I could be wrong though. This is either the 4th or 5th. So I want to say 4th. We'll see them go through this one more time. Yep. Very nice visit from Diego, and Landmines is opting to go for a little bit of a safer style, where he jumps all the way to the wall, and wall kicks off into the pit. Diego is going full kind of balls to the wall, jumping off the cart and directly into the pit after seeing the cue he needs to see for a bare moment of time. So that's actually kind of paying off for Diego. Now it's dead even. Absolutely dead even. It's crazy. This is crazy. Those players just grabbing the Hado at exactly the same time. So now we're going to be heading into the end game. The way the Hadouken works is that it does 32 damage, so it'll one-shot any boss, except for, I guess Rangda Bangda, and the very final boss, Sigma's final form, because he's actually completely impervious to it. He does have 32 health, but the Hadouken doesn't actually hit him. So both... Ooh! Oh no! Diego taking a death. That section is very nerve-wracking, just because of the giant jump that you have to make. And I think it showed a little bit there. It was so even until then, but anything can happen still. It's not trivial to get Hadoukens off on a lot of these bosses, and Diego isn't that far behind at this point. On the other hand, Landmines navigates the first half of Sigma Stage 1 very, very nicely. No major mistakes. I kind of missed it, but he did the Vile Skip glitch, which is what Diego is doing right now. Which basically makes the game, if you avoid touching the ground before going into the boss door, it makes the game sort of play the cutscene while you still have control. So like the cutscenes sort of run into each other. Zero chasing Vile and Zero destroying Vile. Yeah, it saves some time. You can save some time that way. So, Landmines, he took a hit, which is unfortunate. So one thing about the Hadouken is you have to be at full health to use it. So you really, really, really want to avoid taking any damage before you have to use it. Otherwise, you have to menu, use a sub-tank, which we just saw, and then you continue. But obviously that's not ideal because pausing the game wastes time. Landmines gets a nice Hadouken off on Kawanger. Very nicely done. Diego climbing up toward Kawanger now as Landmine takes another hit, unfortunately. And doesn't get a health drop from the enemies that he killed. So he's gonna have to use another sub-tank, but... Oh! Diego gets an extremely unfortunate pattern on Kawanger. And now he's struggling. He's struggling to be able to recover. But he does get the Hado off. Landmines now done with Bow Spider. Ooh, accidentally pauses again. So Landmines, you know, able to secure a very solid lead here, just off the back of not dying, and getting a pattern on Kawanger that didn't punish. The teleport pattern on Kawanger is still doable, but it makes the fight way less trivial. So now Landmine's about half a stage ahead, gets the Hado off on Chill Penguin. That one is very, very straightforward. But it still can be scary because you do have to jump over an ice block and land on the ground and then quickly do your important circle forward. It can be tough. But now Landmine's definitely kind of in the zone, looking like moving very smoothly through Sigma 2. Even gets a gap jump. Those are not easy. Those are when you jump up directly through a ladder and then wall jump instead of having to grab it. Very minor, but very nice fuel. Gets a very solid Hado on Storm Eagle. Diego making quick work of Chill Penguin as well. So, Ranga Banga is an RNG point as well. Green eyes stay in their socket, so they're not Hadokenable. Blue eyes will come down toward you, so they are Hadokenable. Okay, good start for Landmines. And then red eyes are a little bit of a toss-up. They can either stay or come toward you, or move out of their socket but not toward you, so like you can't Hado them. And it looks like Landmines got a pattern where he got a blue eye, which is very nice, but then he got kind of some stubborn red eyes, which is less nice, but not terrible. He's done with Ranga Banga. If Diego gets a friendlier pattern here, which he does not, but green eyes are just the worst. And then Diego takes a hit from the red eye that does come toward him. That one's a very tricky pattern to deal with. Okay, so Landmine's about to skip Armored Armadillo by keeping the camera panned low and then using an ice sled to zip himself through the camera trigger that would pan the camera up. And for whatever reason, Armadillo's spawning relies on the camera being in a certain position. So if you zip yourself past the trigger that puts the camera in that position, then you just skip right past Armadillo. Sting Chameleon. This is called the Air Hado. You put an ice sled in the wall, stand on it, do the inputs for the quarter circle forward for a Hadoken. Diego, maybe some nerves showing here. Opting for a safer Armadillo skip strat. Ooh, actually spawns Armadillo. So if you jump while you're getting through there, then it actually spawns in because it moves your camera far enough up. Meanwhile, Landmines, I didn't see exactly what happened there, but he got the Hado off on Spark Mandrill. And it kind of looks like he's moving through smooth sailing. Diego opting actually not to go for the Air Hado. Instead for the much safer but much slower strat. Safer in the sense that it's easier, really. there shouldn't be RNG factors for the air Hado, but it is, as it might look, very tough to pull off, just in general. So nothing wrong with opting out of it. Landmines got the Hado on Octo, which is a very straightforward one. He's looking to do the same for Mammoth, also very straightforward. Now, D-Rex coming up here. This is a much less straightforward Hado. Well, I guess it's straightforward, but it's harder. What you can do is you can land on the very left side of the bottom half. Ooh, Landmines got it. Nice job, nice job. So you land on the very left side of the bottom part of the boss after having done your quarter circle forward while dashing toward him. And then you just land and then press fire and the Hado comes out and you get him. So Landmine's going into the very final stage here. And typically, runners will feel very confident after getting the D-Rex Hado because that's the last thing in the game that's objectively very difficult. From here on out, you can Hado Sigma's dog, Valgarder, and the first form of Sigma, Jedi Sigma, and those are very straightforward and consistent. Completely reliant on execution. Wow, Diego really went for it. Got the back up very well. And then, since you have so much health, you can play the last fight very aggressively. So Landmine's coming up. The claw doesn't give him any trouble on the left side here. And now each rolling shield hits for 2 damage, so you need to hit him with 16 rolling shields. Claw's giving him a little bit of grief here, but he's just got a few hits left. This is looking like a wrap. 37-21 for Landmines, the victor of this race. And a great showing for him, really. And absolutely, no major mistakes. Just very solid execution throughout. And Diego is, not so far behind him. Not so far behind. Diego's about to finish up as well, coming up on the last fight. Diego put up an extremely good fight for the vast majority of the game, and then unfortunately took a death in Sigma 1, and then had a very, very unfriendly pattern on the Wanger Sigma 1 as well, which really kind of cost him the closeness of the race. But other than that, also extremely solid shit. So this fight can be difficult. Oh no! Oh no! Diego taking a death there. Very unfortunate on the last fight. It can kind of sneak up on you because everything that Wolf Sigma does just hits so hard. It hits so hard. So, you go in thinking, like, you have full health, 32 health, like, that's so much. But then, 2 or 3 hits later, you're like, oh, it's not looking so hot anymore. So he'll be going through this gauntlet again. Very nicely Hados both the dog and the first form of Sigma. And now let's see if he's able to finish this out a bit. Actually, I'm not sure he has enough rolling shield here. Ooh, the claws in trouble on one side, so he takes a hit right off the bat. now he's gonna have to use the only other weapon that actually hits him, which is pink charge shots. So this becomes very painstaking because you have to charge all the way to pink, which is 90 frames, and then you have to, you know, he only takes 1 damage from this. But so far, Diego playing this out pretty well. The advantage... Ooh, I really hope he uses something here. Oh no! So, one thing you can do is farm the little crawlers that come out of here for weapon energy with the rolling shield. Oh, but you know what? He doesn't actually have any, so he can't charge up a rolling shield. It looks like Diego might be forfeiting this. I actually don't have word from exactly what's happening, so... Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like this is a forfeit, which is really quite sad because this was just so close. This was so close for so long, and both runners really just had great runs going for them. So a bit of an unfortunate end. I do completely understand it though, given the circumstances here. Landmines with a very solid 37-21. Diego with almost a great 38-ish finish. You know, that met some misfortune earlier on in the run. So extremely solid showing from both runners here. And yeah, I think that's kind of a wrap. I hope you guys go to both of their channels and support them because both of them are great guys. And they put in a lot of time into Mega Man X, which is awesome. So, yeah, guys, thank you for watching, and I think I will be signing off with that. GG.